The Black Death Monastery. Chapter 1. The Death List in the Fire. By the third night, St. Bartholomew's Monastery was burning. Fire pressed against the judgment hall. The bell tower had no one left to ring it, yet the bell kept tolling. Once, again. Isabel stood in the centre of the crowd with a leather-bound book in her arms. It was not a Bible. It was the true death list. Abbot Malvis stood before the altar. The edges of his white robe were black with smoke, but his face was terribly calm. She had brought the plague inside these holy walls. The crowd stepped back. Some prayed, some shouted for her to be thrown out. Then a man forced his way through them. Her father, Sir Raymond. 3 days earlier, he had brought Isabel to this monastery himself and told her it was the only place that could protect her. Now he would not look her in the eye. "Isabel," he whispered, "stop. Your mother harmed us once already." The words were colder than the fire. An iron key rolled to Isabel's feet. She looked toward the monks. Lucien, the young scribe, stood among them with blood on both hands. He said only one thing: "Read." Isabel opened the list and read the first name. A man in the crowd fell to his knees. He was supposed to be dead, but he was alive, and on the page it said he had died 2 hours earlier. Cause of death? The Black Death. The hall erupted. The doors were locked. Fire breathed through the cracks. Isabel held the list against her chest. "The Black Death is outside the walls." She looked at the abbot, then at her father, who still would not raise his head. "The murderers are inside." 3 days earlier, when Isabel first saw the monastery, it was not burning. It was 1348. The Black Death moved along roads and prayers. Villages were sealed shut. Plague pits burned beside the road. The carriage passed through smoke and coughing. Her father held a sealed letter. "The monastery will protect you," he said. But at the gate, the monks refused a woman begging for help with her fevered child. Then they opened the same gate for Isabel. One monk even knew her name. Before the iron gate closed, Sir Raymond stayed outside. "Remember," he said, "survive." It did not sound like comfort. It sounded like a farewell. That night, Isabel was locked in her room. After the midnight bell, she heard chains dragging through the corridor. The sound stopped outside her door. A woman's voice whispered through the crack, "Do not sleep." Chapter 2. A Death Written Too Soon. At dawn, an old nun brought water to Isabel's room. Her name was Sister Marta. Isabel knew her voice at once. She was the woman who had whispered, "Do not sleep." Marta did not admit it. She only led Isabel to the chapel. On the way, she gave her the rules. Do not leave after the midnight bell. Do not go near the confessional. Do not enter the catacombs. Do not plead for anyone outside the gate. "Why?" Isabel asked. "Because there are too many people outside the gate," Marta said. In the chapel, Abbot Malvis welcomed her. "She is one whom God has kept inside." It sounded like a blessing, but Isabel heard something else. Locked inside. After prayer, a cloth merchant stopped beside her. "Did the new lady sleep well?" His name was Henri. He had arrived 3 days earlier. He was loud, sharp-tongued, and difficult to like. He coughed once. Marta's face changed. Henri laughed. "Do not look at me like that, sister. No fever, no black swellings." Later, Isabel carried linen strips to the scriptorium. The door was half open. A quill scraped over parchment. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Lucienne sat at the desk. Isabel saw one line in the register. Henri Deveau. Time of death, tonight after the 3rd bell. Cause of death, the Black Death. Her fingers went cold. He is still alive. Lucienne snapped the book shut. You should not have seen that. Can death be prepared in advance? His face changed. Not anger, fear. That night, Isabel was locked in again. After the 3rd midnight bell, she heard footsteps outside her door. 3 men were carrying something. Henri whispered, terrified. "I am not sick. I have no fever. Where are you taking me?" No one answered. A Latin prayer began. Then Henri's voice changed. "Wait, that is not the infirmary. That is the confessional." A door opened. A dull blow. Henri's voice vanished. The next morning, Abbot Malvis announced, "Master Henri was called back to God last night. Cause of death, the Black Death." Isabel looked at Henri's empty seat. At last she understood. The register was not prophecy. It was a plan. Chapter 3. The Dead Man Without a Fever. Henri's body was wrapped quickly in white cloth and covered with lime. The abbot said it was to prevent infection, but when the wooden frame passed Isabel, she smelled blood, not sickness, fresh blood hidden under lime. She followed the monks to a stone room on the north side. That was not the way to the graveyard. It was the way to the confessional. Inside, Henri lay beneath the sheet. Isabel lifted the cloth. No black marks, no swellings, no sign of fever, only a deep purple bruise across his throat. Not plague. A hand. Someone had killed him. The door opened. Lucia stood there, pale. "You are mad." "He was strangled." "Do not say that aloud. Walls hear." "Then let them hear." Lucia whispered, "No one here is ignorant of fear. Most have only learned how to survive. You call this surviving?" He did not answer. Footsteps came close. Lucien pushed her into a storage space and lied for her. After the monks left, Isabel asked, "Why help me?" "Because if you die too soon," he said, "no one will keep asking questions." Marta entered with burial cloths. "It was not plague," Isabel said. Marta answered calmly, "Not everyone recorded as plague dies of plague." Then she handed Isabel an old strip of cloth. There was faded blue thread along one edge. Isabel knew it. When she was small, her mother had tied her hair with a ribbon like that. "Was this my mother's?" Marta's face changed, like she had seen a ghost from 10 years ago. "You knew my mother," Isabel said. The noon bell began to ring. Marta closed her eyes. "Child," she whispered, "your mother came here." Chapter 4. The Door Behind the Confessional. "Your mother came here." Those words gave shape to every silence Isabel had heard for 10 years. Did she die here? Marta did not answer, but her eyes did. That night, Isabel did not wait for midnight. She tore her bedsheet, climbed from her locked room, and slipped through the monastery corridors. The confessional stood behind the chapel, Lucia was already there. "You truly do not fear death," he said. "Are you here to stop me or betray me? If I meant to betray you, you would already be before the abbot." The confessional door was unlocked. That was worse. Inside, the kneeling bench was carved with deep marks, not prayer marks, fingernails. Isabel felt along the wall until one carved wooden panel sounded hollow. Lucia whispered, "Do not touch it." "Why?" "Because once you open it, you cannot pretend you do not know." "I already cannot." She pressed the carved wooden fruit in the center of the panel. Stone moved behind the wall. A hidden door opened. Cold air breathed out, smelling of herbs, lime, and rot. They descended narrow steps. Water dripped in the dark. Drop, drop, drop. At the bottom was an iron door. The sign read, "Isolation Room." Inside were rotten beds, black leather straps, medicine bottles, rope, and names carved into every wall. Men, women, children. Dates were carved beneath them. Some were from 1339, some from 1342. Isabel whispered, "The Black Death only came this year." Lucia said nothing. These people had died before the plague. The Black Death had not begun the monastery's crimes. It had only given them a better excuse. At the deepest wall, Isabel scraped away moss. A name appeared. Eleanor de Veyrac. Her mother's name. The date was 10 years old, not on a grave, not in a prayer book, on an underground wall where dying people carved their names so the world would not erase them. Isabel touched the first letter. Behind her, the iron door slammed shut. In the darkness, a chain fell. Chapter 6. Not the Bones of Saints. The next day, the monastery held the rite of the holy relics. Everyone gathered in the chapel. Abbot Malvis stood before the altar. Beneath a red cloth lay the silver reliquary. "Outside is death," the people answered. "Inside is mercy. Outside is corruption. Inside is purity. Outside is fear. Inside is obedience." Isabel understood. The words did not need to explain. They only needed to repeat until people forgot they could ask why. Marta knocked over a pot of bitter herbs. Smoke spread. Monks rushed to help her. Lucia opened the side door and led Isabel beneath the altar. The silver box had a small lock. Lucia opened it with a thin piece of iron. Click, the lid lifted. Inside were not the bones of one saint. There were many people. Bone fragments, ribbons, rings, seals, cross pendants, broken combs, cloth darkened by old blood. They were not being worshipped. They were being kept. Lucian lifted a small cross pendant and went pale. "Anna." "Who?" "My sister." Isabel searched the box and found a silver ring with a tiny rose carved into it. She knew it. Her mother had worn that ring. Then someone clapped behind them. Once. Twice. Abbot Malvis stood in the doorway. "I wondered whether you would go first to the archive or here." Lucien stepped in front of Isabel. Malvis looked at him. "You have finally learned courage. Too late." Isabel held the ring. "These are not holy relics." "To some people they are more useful than relics," Malvis said. "They make the living keep silent and the dead continue to obey." "You murdered them." "I managed fear." He said that before the plague, people were already tearing each other apart. Nobles needed inheritance problems removed. Husbands needed disobedient wives quieted. Fathers needed daughters who knew too much contained. We gave chaos a vessel. You call murder a vessel? I call sacrifice order. Isabel asked, "What did my mother sacrifice?" Malvis looked at her. "Your father's peace." Outside, the chapel stirred. Malvis turned and gave an order. "Seal the monastery." Then he looked back at Isabel. "Isabel de Veyrac has touched a polluted relic. She shows signs of plague. From this moment, she must be isolated." Lucien whispered, "She is not sick." Malvis smiled. "Sickness is not decided by the body." His eyes fell to the ring in her hand. "It is decided by the record." Chapter 7. The Chosen Patient. They did not return Isabel to her room. They took her back underground. Malvis threw a letter at her feet. The broken seal bore her father's crest. He read it aloud. "If my daughter shows the same stubbornness as her mother, or asks about old matters, deal with her discreetly, so the inheritance will not be polluted again." Isabel picked up the letter, her father's hand, her father's name. He had not sent her here to be protected. He had sent her here to see whether she would become another problem. Malvis said, "Your father understands that the world needs doors. Those inside live, those outside die." Isabel looked up. "No, some doors are meant to lock murderers in." The iron door closed. Later, a thin piece of metal slid beneath it. Lucien's voice came through the crack. "Third notch on the left. Lift." "Why are you helping me?" Silence. "Because I have written too many deaths," he said. "I would like to change one ending." The lock opened. Lucien returned her mother's ring. Marta moved some of the relics. They are searching for her. They reached the laundry yard too late. Marta had been seized by the monks. In her arms was a bundle of objects from the reliquary. Malvis stood before her. "You served this place for 30 years, and now you betray it." Marta lifted her head. "I served the dead, not you." Malvis turned to the crowd. "Tomorrow, after morning prayer, this woman will testify. She will tell you that Isabel and her mother brought polluted blood into these walls." As Marta was dragged away, she looked toward the shadows where Isabel stood. She did not speak. She only shaped 2 words with her mouth. The list. Chapter 8. Sister Marta's Last Testimony. The next morning there was no bell. No bell was worse than any bell. Marta was brought before the small chapel with her hands tied and bruises on her face. She looked small. But when she lifted her head, Isabel felt the whole chapel shrink around her. Malvis said, "Sister Marta, you admit that Isabel led you to desecrate holy relics and spread fear." "I admit nothing." The crowd stirred. Malvis continued, "You also admit that Eleanor de Veyrac came here bearing unclean omens and died under God's judgment." Marta looked toward the back of the chapel. Isabel hid behind a pillar. She knew Marta saw her. "Eleanor did not die by God's hand," Marta said. The chapel went silent. "She died by human hands." Someone gasped. Marta went on. "She was not sick. She carried no omen. She knew something she was not meant to know. Her husband sent her here. The monastery locked her underground. Then they recorded her death as plague." Malvis snapped. "She is delirious." Marta looked at him. "No. Delirium is the name you taught them." Her voice weakened, but it grew clearer. "I am guilty too. I brought Lady Eleanor water. I heard her knocking beneath the ground. I heard her call for her daughter. I did not open the door." Isabel gripped the stone pillar. Marta looked at her. Silence can become a lock. Malvis raised his hand. 2 monks covered Marta's mouth and dragged her away. That night, Lucian led Isabel to the old herb room. Marta lay there, barely alive. She touched the blue ribbon on Isabel's wrist. Your mother wore it that day, she whispered. She said if anyone found it, then someone would remember she was not a monster. From her sleeve, Marta took a small wooden token carved with a cross. The true death list is not in the reliquary. The reliquary only keeps fear. Where is it? Deep in the catacombs, behind the wall with no names. Marta seized her hand. When you find it, do not only run, make them hear. Her final words were almost air. Your mother was not the first. A pause. And she was not the last. The lamp went out. Isabel pressed her forehead to Marta's cold hand. From that moment, she no longer wanted only to escape. She wanted the monastery to hear the dead speak. Chapter 9. Behind the Nameless Wall. The catacombs were deeper than the isolation room. Lucian led the way, following the cross marks from Marta's token. Bones rested in niches and lay in piles on the floor. The deeper they went, the farther away the bells sounded. At last they found a clean wall. No names, no crosses. Too clean. Lucian knocked. Hollow. Together they pushed aside a loose stone. Behind it were oilcloth bundles. Inside were parchment books. The true death list. There were abbots' hands, nobles' signatures, husbands' requests, and crests like Isabel's own. Every page said the same thing. Remove this person, silence her, make his death reasonable, record it as plague, record it as judgment. Isabel found Eleanor's name. Beside it was an old letter signed by Sir Raymond. She kept turning pages. Then she found her own name. Isabel de Veyrac. Status: to be observed. If she asks about old matters, record as inherited plague delirium. Lucian found another page. Beside Eleanor's false death record was his own signature. Small, clear as a knife. I thought it was only a line, he said. Isabel did not look at him. For my mother, it was a coffin lid. Lucian closed his eyes. I will testify. Then a heavy sound rolled through the tunnel. A stone door had been sealed. Smoke entered the catacombs. Lucian turned. They mean to burn this place. They ran with the death list, but the exit was blocked. Smoke thickened. Lucian found a narrow air shaft above them and pushed the list into Isabel's arms. If only one of us gets out, it has to be you. Isabel looked at him. Then she lowered a torn strip of cloth. Hold on. Chapter 10. The Public Trial. Isabel did not leave him behind. She pulled Lucian out of the smoke, and together they carried the death list into the judgment hall. Smoke rose from the archive. Bells rang out of order. Malvis had gathered everyone. He meant to put Isabel on trial. Sir Raymond stood beside the altar. At once Isabel understood. Malvis had sent for him. If she stayed quiet, her father would collect a frightened daughter. If she did not, he would deal with a problem like her mother. Sir Raymond said, "Give me that book and come home." Isabel asked, "You came to save me?" "Then why did you send my mother here?" The crowd murmured. Raymond's face changed. "Be silent." Those two words tore the last father from her heart. Malvis raised his voice. "Isabel spreads plague. She has desecrated holy relics. She carries her mother's corrupt blood." Isabel lifted the list. "I will read one name." The hall quieted. Henri Deveau, recorded as Black Death. True cause of death, strangulation. An old man spoke from the crowd. He had no fever that day. The first stone shifted. Isabel turned the page. Eleanor de Veyrac, recorded as Plague Omen. True cause, possession of inheritance evidence. Raymond shouted, "Enough!" Isabel held up his letter. "This is your hand." Then she held up her mother's ring, and this was hers. Finally, she opened the true list. These dead were not written by God. They were not written by plague. They were written by living hands. Malvis shouted, "She is delirious." Lucien stepped beside her. His hand was bleeding. "No." Everyone looked at him. "I wrote Eleanor's death record. She had no plague. I was ordered to record her death as plague." The order came from Malvis. The request came from Sir Raymond. He stopped. "I wrote my sister Anna's record too. I thought silence would let me live. Instead, I became their pen." The hall broke open. People shouted to see the list. Someone asked if his wife was on it. A nun fell to her knees and cried, "I heard knocking underground." Malvis looked at the crowd and finally tore off his mercy. "Outside is plague. Without me, all of you will die." Isabel lifted the list. "People die inside too." Then she said it. "The Black Death is outside the walls. The murderers are inside." The bell screamed. Malvis gave the order. "Seal the doors." Iron bars fell in the distance, once, twice, 3 times. "Then let all of them die with the truth." Chapter 11. Open the monastery gate. Fire spread from the archive into the west corridor. Smoke crawled into the judgment hall. Children cried. The sick coughed. Outside were plague pits and death. Inside were fire, smoke, and a murderer in white. Isabel shoved the death list into her cloak and ran to the gate. "Help me!" No one moved. They had spent too long being told how to live. Isabel grabbed the iron bar. It burned her palm. "Help me!" This time, an old woman stepped forward. Her husband had died 3 days earlier. He too had been recorded as plague. She gripped the bar and said, "He had no fever that night." Then came 2 children, then a nun. Then a young monk threw down his staff and said, "I heard the knocking underground." More hands joined. Lucien found the mechanism in the wall. This is not a common lock. It is tied to the isolation system. 3 wheels must turn together. On the wheels were 3 words: purity, obedience, closure. Isabel gave a bitter laugh. "Then break them." She took 1 wheel. Lucien took another. The third was empty. Sir Raymond appeared behind her. "Come with me. There is a private passage in the east wall. It only fits 2. Bring the list. The others cannot be saved." Isabel looked at him. Fire lit his face. He did not look at the coughing children. He did not look at the nuns on the floor. He looked only at the list hidden in her cloak. At last she saw him clearly. No remorse, only calculation. You still only want to save the family name. I am trying to save you. Did you save my mother? His hand loosened. You sent her here, Isabel said. Then you sent me. You are not my protector. You are another name that must be recorded. The third wheel moved. Not Raymond. The young monk had taken it. All three turned. Chains groaned inside the wall. Malvis rushed through the smoke with a knife and drove it toward Lucien. Isabel threw herself between them. The blade cut her arm. Lucien slammed Malvis into the side wall. An isolation door opened behind him. The old mechanism was already moving. The same iron door once used to seal the sick began to fall. For the first time, Malvis looked afraid. Lucien! He did not call for God. He called for the man who had written his deaths. Lucien looked at him, holding Anna's little cross pendant. You only made me write death for you. The iron door fell. Click. The same sound as the underground lock. At last, the main gate loosened. Everyone pushed. Cold wind cut through the smoke. Outside was not safety. The Black Death still waited in the world beyond. But the door was open. For the first time, they chose where to go. Isabel looked back at the monastery. Fire poured from its windows, as if the building were finally spitting out decades of sin. Then she stepped through the gate. Chapter 12. The Recorder of the Dead. St. Bartholomew's did not burn to the ground. The walls remained. The bell tower remained. But when people passed the mountain road, they no longer called it a sanctuary. They said the place had been cursed by the Black Death. Isabel did not correct them. People liked to blame human sin on invisible things. Plague, judgment, curses. That way, the living did not have to admit they had bowed their heads, stayed silent, or sent others through the door. The survivors were quarantined below the mountain. Church officials came, nobles came. Sir Raymond sent men asking for a private settlement. They all wanted the true death list. Isabel did not give it to them. She gave them a copy. The real list stayed in an unmarked leather bag with her mother's ring. Raymond was not executed at once. That made Isabel understand something clearly. Power does not fall because one building burns. It changes its robe, softens its voice, and asks people to be silent again. On the third day, Raymond came to her. You cannot live alone out there. Isabel was copying names. One by one, she wrote the dead back into the world as people. I am not alone. You have no family. She stopped writing. No. Her voice was calm. You have no daughter. Raymond left. His back no longer looked like a father's, only another name waiting for the list. Lucien stayed behind to testify. He named every false record he had written. He told them how Malvis used fear. He named the bargains between nobles and the monastery. Before Isabel left, he gave her the iron key. It does not open every door. Isabel closed her hand around it. But it reminds me some doors are not meant to wait for someone else. She opened the final pages of the true death list. There were marks from other monasteries, other estates, other shelters. Marta had been right. Her mother was not the first, and she was not the last. Isabel closed the book. Then I will find the next door. Hooves sounded on the mountain road. She did not go home. She did not call herself a woman of vengeance. Vengeance was too small. Her task was record, to write back the names of those who had been turned into plague, judgment, madness, and corruption. Years later, people still said St. Bartholomew's had been cursed by the Black Death. Isabel knew the true curse was not plague. It was the human willingness to hand fear to men in black robes. She put on her mother's ring and walked down into the fog. Far away, another monastery bell began to ring.